Hi friends, thanks so much for joining me for another tutorial. This time I am going to be making some triangular coaster trays instead of 4. I am just showing you the materials that I'm using. As always, Be Resin. It's equal parts part A and B. I just mix it in that measuring cup. From there, I always separate the clear out into smaller little cups. These I get from the dollar store. It's like maybe 10, 20, 30, I don't know, for $1. It's a lot of small little cups for $1. So I absolutely love these. And they are reusable in a sense, in a way. I do have a video in which I talk about how to reuse materials. I will leave a card for you guys below on that. So this project is actually inspired by pouring your heart out. I'm not sure of her YouTube name, but she did something, I think this exact same one. And so I wanted to try my hand at it. And so it's just a specific technique that she used that I'm going to try to replicate. I think mine came out absolutely beautiful. It's not what I was going for, but I just love the outcome of this one. And so I know a lot of my videos, I don't usually show you guys a lot of how I mix colors, and so I thought that I wouldn't edit this one and I would show you guys more of the background and kind of explain what I'm doing more and just kind of talk you guys through it. So the first thing I'll say is what I have below the mold. By the way, that mold is from Amazon. I'll leave a link for that below. But below the mold, I just have a puppy pad. So I learned that from some other YouTubers as well. I have a dog, and when he was a puppy, I have a ton of puppy pads because he just ate them, so we never use them. And so all I did was I laid this down. I did tape the ends of the puppy pad to my counter. I am team small space. That just means I live in an apartment, and so I live in an apartment, so I don't have a lot of space to work with, and I also don't want to ruin my counters because they aren't mine. So this is just one of 3 ways that I usually cover my workspace. If you guys, the video that I have about reusing products also talks about ways to cover your workspace if you're team tiny space like me. So nonetheless, for this color, I am putting down this black grayish color first. I did use a little bit of dark gray mica powders. These pigments came from Michaels. It just comes in one of their bigger jars. I love using that as an additive whenever I use black because it just makes the black look very silky. Like usually black is just like dark, strong, robust. But whenever I want to kind of get a silkier color, I'll just add a little bit of the gray. The gray never overpowers the black, obviously, but it definitely gives that black the look that you want, just like the creamy, silky kind of look and feel. Yeah, so I added a little bit to that. So the first thing I did is outlined each separate tray, each separate coaster with that black color. So if you guys notice, I just spilled a little bit of black in the area that I didn't want it in. What I use to clean that up is going to be it's an alcohol wipe. It's just it's a baby wipe, sorry. So I just use a baby wipe. Baby wipes are gonna be your best friend. If you are team tiny space, if you work with resin, if you are anything that is anything, you need baby wipes. So if you get resin on your counters for some weird reason, or on your skin, or on the floor, grab that baby wipe it up real quick. I'm telling you, they are a lifesaver. I never get out resin unless I also get out baby wipes, okay? So yeah, if you can tell, it just cleaned it right up and it's not a big deal, right? So the next thing that I'm doing is stirring up the next color. So I showed you guys a little clip of the color that I used. It's a copper color, and I got that one from Michaels. It came in like a 2-pack with copper, and I think maybe white. Maybe pearl. Michaels has a bomb pearl color. So if you guys are looking for a really beautiful pearl white color, get it from Michaels. So nonetheless, I just mixed that up. I knew I didn't need a lot. Mind you, these little cups that I'm stirring in only hold, I would say, 2 ounces. And so if you're looking at that copper color, I didn't use a lot, maybe like half of an ounce. And right now I'm still just mixing up colors, trying to get the right consistency. So I'll always remind you guys of the rule of 10. Never put more than 10% of additives into any kind of resin that you're using. So just be mindful whenever you're pouring resin. So I just showed you guys the reason I love these cups is because you can control the pour. I am a very controlling person. Just kidding. But I wanted to be able to control the pour because I didn't want this color to get outside of where I wanted it to be. And so I just picked the cup up. I made sure the cup wasn't too full because if it's too full, then you'll probably run into problems. But then since it wasn't so full, I was able to clip it together and then pour as much as I wanted. And so as you can see, it's already starting to kind of come together. Like, I love these colors together. I didn't even know I love them together, but I do. And now I know those two colors were perfect right next to each other. I'm going in with this other this color, actually, this one came from Michael's as well in a 3-pack. It's like a shiny yellow. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call it, a shiny yellow. It was just down below, actually at the top left. It was a little thing. It came in 3 different colors from Michael's. I'll try to link that in the description below if I can find out what it actually was. But nonetheless, so back to this pour. So I am figuring out the design that I want to do. I had watched her video intensively, so I'm just trying to remember exactly what she did. And I am sure that this technique from pouring out your heart, I'm sure that I have it on a different computer in the background while I'm doing this, just to make sure I'm doing it right. And so now that I have the 3 main colors, I am just, you see, I added a little bit more alcohol inks of the copper. That copper is so beautiful, guys. Like, just get it. Look at this. It's just a must. It's a must have. So I'm just pouring a little bit more of that because I realized that the yellow and the black kind of are merging together and you cannot see the copper anymore. And it's so beautiful. I didn't want it to get like left behind. I didn't want it to be outside of the piece. And so I'm just adding more to it. One thing I learned in this project is that it matters when you lay colors. If you don't really care how your project comes out and you're not really going for a certain effect, then it is what it is. But when I put the copper on top of the yellow, it matters. So as you see, there's a little like copper ring that's sitting on top of the gold, kind of on top of the black as well. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. So I am now just trying to correct my mistake by doing it again. So yeah, I had these colors left. I am huge into using all the resin that you pour. And so since I poured so much of it, I am just trying to fill out the mold a little bit, but also utilize it the best way I can. So what I did there is I just put a little bit of clear resin in the center. Usually clear helps to merge colors, as you can see, and it helps to spread out any color that's like, I just felt like the white was way too much, right? And so I used the clear to help me push the white back some. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to figure out how to get my desired look. And I am just using all the resin that I have left over. So right now I'm gonna mix the copper that I have with some glitter, and then I'll pour that in the center. But while I'm doing that, let me give you guys another tip. So whenever you're working with resin, it's really hard to pour exactly what you need. What I would do, I'm showing you guys the glitter that I'm using that came from Michael's. It's just a little turn glitter and it has every color you can ever need, right? So I use that copper color in with the copper mica powder. I'm mixing that together in the background. But back to my tip, guys. Buy little trinket molds. Even if you don't want them or use them or whatever, always buy little trinket molds that only takes like 1 to 3 ounces of resin, because you will typically always have resin left over. And if you're like me and you don't want to waste resin because this stuff is expensive, you don't want to waste resin, so you just want to make sure you're utilizing it as best as possible, you can layer trinket molds, right? So I'm not going to have a lot of resin left over, but it's enough to get a layer started on something else. I have like this little tea light candle, holder mold. I will actually link I'll link a card to show you a different video where you can see that tea light candle holder mode, but it doesn't take a lot of resin and it's perfectly fine if I don't fill it up all the way the first time. Like, it ruins nothing. So I would just say buy trinket molds when you're thinking of starting resin. That way you're not wasting your resin. Like, no one wants to waste resin. It just costs way too much money, right? Okay, so nonetheless, I'm starting to like more and more how this piece is turning out. I wasn't really that big of a fan of the yellow color, so that's why I'm trying to, and also I poured more of the copper color, so I'm just trying to utilize it as best as possible. Keep in mind, guys, if you can see the mold that I'm working on, the one to the right of it, the copper is like coming out of the side. So I think that was part of the technique to learn here. It matters how you lay your colors down, because the resin, depending on the resin and the depth of it, it will spread and it will come on top. So the finished piece does have a lot of copper that like pushed itself to the side and came on top. That's not something that I did. That's just how the resin cured. So that was part of the project that I absolutely love how it came out. And just keep in mind, a lot of the times whenever you pour resin like this, what you pour right now is not necessarily how it's going to end up looking in the end. And so just be mindful of that. Right now I'm also using a heat gun. It's to pop the bubbles that I did have in the resin. I tend to stir my resin really fast because I always got places to be. Just kidding, but I just do. And so I usually have bubbles in my resin. Guys, it's not a big deal. Like, you can stir your resin slower and it'll reduce the bubbles, but nonetheless you'll almost always have bubbles. So you can use a heat gun, you can use a little torch, you can use anything that produces some heat to pop the bubbles in your piece. I always come back to my piece probably I would say 15-20 minutes later after I'm done with it to pop any other bubbles that came to the surface. That isn't as big of a deal. Just be mindful when you're working on your projects just to keep going back to check on it while it's setting, because if there is something wrong, the sooner you get to it, the faster you can fix it. So this is the end of this project, guys. I'll try to leave everything in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel. I greatly appreciate you guys. Definitely leave me a comment if you love how this one turned out. Don't mind how it looks right now, but if you love how it turned out, leave me a comment below with some little hearts. I will really appreciate it. But nonetheless, like, share, subscribe to my channel. I try to put out as many videos as I have. So I'll be putting out more videos this week. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time.